Alarms are going up throughout the continent as some member states of the Economic Community of West African States declare their resignation. This unprecedented move raises critical questions about regional stability, economic cooperation, and the future of a unified West Africa. Did growing frustrations drive this decision, or are there other, more fundamental problems at hand? To evaluate the future of West Africa and its various nations, it is imperative to comprehend the causes of this fragmentation and any possible repercussions. In the most recent developments, the ECOWAS has urged the military leaders of Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali to reconsider their decision to quit the political and economic alliance, warning of the hardships the move would force on their citizens. Let's explore the intricate story underlying this developing drama, looking at the complaints, possible solutions, and wider regional ramifications. The three countries' self-appointed military leaders jointly announced on January 28 that they were abandoning the Bloc after it pressured them to restore constitutional order following a string of coups. The statement, which aired on state television in all three of the affected nations, said that ECOWAS had deviated from Pan-Africanism and the ideals of its founding fathers after over 50 years of existence. It also stated that the decision to quit had been made with complete sovereign authority. These military chiefs argued that ECOWAS was under the sway of other countries and had turned into a danger to the people living in its member states. With their departure, ECOWAS, which has battled to stop the decline of democracy in West Africa since a military coup in Mali in 2020, faces even greater vulnerability. To examine this matter and the election situation in Senegal, where the unprecedented postponement of a presidential vote has caused public indignation and international concern, the Bloc's Security Council and Mediation Committee convened in the capital of Nigeria, Abuja. Regarding the withdrawal, Council Chairman Yusuf Maitama Tugger said the military leaders' move would bring more hardship and do more harm to the common citizens of these three countries. He continued to urge the three countries in question to remain with the Bloc, and ECOWAS is going to redouble its efforts towards diplomacy, dialogue, and reconciliation. The president of the ECOWAS Commission, Omar Touré, criticized the military leaders for their hasty decision and claimed they had broken the rules to leave the Bloc. According to the ECOWAS Treaty, a member state that wishes to leave the Bloc must submit a one-year written notice to the leadership, after which such a state shall cease to be a member of the community. According to the treaty, the state intending to withdraw must nevertheless observe the provisions and fulfill its commitments under the accord during that year. However, ECOWAS said it was yet to be notified about the three countries' decision to quit, and that for now, they remained important members of the body. While the military commanders of the three countries concentrate on looking for new alliances, analysts predict that ECOWAS will look to maintain discussions with the military leaders on how to best maintain peace in the area. One thing is clear. The ECOWAS's decision to utilize sanctions as a primary instrument to overthrow the coups that have been going on in Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger has resulted in a worsening of relations between the Bloc and these countries. Bear in mind that in August 2023, ECOWAS agreed on a D-date for possible military intervention to restore democracy in Niger. The Bloc said most of its member states were ready to participate in a standby force that could intervene in Niger. This could not happen because of the strong alliance formed by these countries. In the nearly 50 years that the Bloc has existed, this is the first time that its members are leaving in this way. According to analysts, it represents a further danger to the stability of the region and an extraordinary blow to the group. The 15-nation regional Bloc Economic Community of West African States was established in 1975 with one goal: to promote cooperation and integration, to raise the living standards of its people, and to maintain and enhance economic stability. Since then, it has developed as the leading political authority in the area, frequently working with states to address domestic issues ranging from politics to the economy and security. But have they been raising the living standards of their people? Others believe that ECOWAS is rapidly losing the trust and support of many West Africans because they believe it does not fairly represent their interests in an area where people have long lamented the lack of benefits from their nation's enormous natural resources. The ECOWAS may be further weakened by this withdrawal. The departure would exacerbate the already unstable political climate in West Africa, giving radical organizations more confidence and escalating worries about regional security. The union's market would be reduced if 3 members left, which may have an effect on investment opportunities, commerce, and economic growth within the bloc. Bear in mind that all this is coming up after ECOWAS accused Burkina Faso in January of carrying out repressive actions, including the arrest of political and civil society figures, and an alleged illegal and arbitrary requisition procedure to suppress freedom of expression. The Burkinabe government vehemently disputed these accusations and reiterated its commitment to following the law in the war against terror. The transition government called on the ECOWAS Commission to use caution in carrying out its mandate and refused to be swayed by what it regarded as creative communications. They also questioned the constant commitment of the ECOWAS Commission and called for respect for the country's choices. Can you remember when huge crowds gathered in Mali's capital Bamako and other towns in January 2022 to denounce sanctions imposed on the country by the ECOWAS and West African Economic and Monetary Union? Protesters responded to a televised address by the transitional president and military leader, Colonel Assimi Goïta, in which he described the sanctions as illegal, illegitimate, and inhumane, and invited public mobilization to denounce them. This shows that these countries had already made plans to leave the bloc. They are just executing them now. The sanctions made many Malians angry and awakened a sense of patriotism that benefited the transitional government. The diplomatic, trade, and financial restrictions included a trade embargo and the freezing of Mali's assets at the Central Bank of West African states. The actions were meant to amplify the pressure from outside sources, particularly the nation's principal diplomatic allies, by isolating Mali, undermining its economy, and motivating people to put pressure on their authorities to have earlier elections. But the plan hasn't been effective. The organization is perceived as a punisher rather than a collaborator in Mali as a result of its continuous imposition of sanctions. Since the crisis began, many people have forgotten its crucial role in supporting Mali's military forces in their struggle against instability. As we previously stated, relations between all 3 countries and the wealthier countries of the West and Europe have gotten worse. Russia is now a factor in this. Russia has shown more hospitality and continues to take advantage of anti-French sentiment by projecting an image of power and willingness to cooperate with African states. Russian mercenary company Wagner has been working in Mali, aiding the national army in its conflict with armed rebels, with the intention of strengthening military and strategic cooperation between the 2 countries. Russian servicemen also arrived in Burkina Faso at the end of January. Recently, senior officials from Russia and Nigerian have also entertained one another. At a summit in St. Petersburg in July, Russian President Vladimir Putin extended an invitation to 6 African nations, including Burkina Faso and Mali, to receive free grain as part of Moscow's attempts to prevent a worldwide food crisis. This might be the beginning of an end for ECOWAS. Some countries might perceive the bloc as unable to address their concerns effectively, particularly regarding security threats, economic integration, or internal political situations, and decide to leave as well. As we mentioned earlier, the Council also spoke on the political drama that is going on in Senegal. ECOWAS has urged Senegal, one of its most stable member states, to return to its election timetable, but critics have already questioned the group's sway over increasingly defiant member states. Protests broke out in Senegal when President Sall announced he was postponing the February 25 vote just hours before campaigning was set to begin. In a statement late on February 6, ECOWAS cautioned Senegal against jeopardizing peace and stability during difficult times for West Africa. But it was unclear what the bloc would do if President Sall defied its warning. One power ECOWAS is imposing trade sanctions, as it did against Mali and Niger following recent coups. The unrest has also cast doubt on the almost 50-year-old bloc's larger role, particularly after it abandoned its threat of military action in Niger last year, and there was no indication that the overthrown president of the nation was any closer to returning to office. Senegal's democracy must be faced head-on with the emerging challenge. The nation is a pillar of ECOWAS. Despite its imperfections, its political structure is based on essential institutions and ideas. There is a lot on the line. The Senegalese political class and the public are in an uproar over the president's postponement of the election. Many constitutional scholars maintain that President Sall and his legislative majority lack the legal authority to even alter the polling date or prolong the term of the head of state past its prearranged expiration on April 2. The U.S. Senate Foreign Relations Committee has also accused Mr. Sall of putting his country on a dangerous path towards dictatorship. Whatever the case, we are waiting to see how things will unfold. As the dust settles after the recent ECOWAS withdrawals, West Africa's future is in jeopardy. Even after the first shock wears off, important issues remain. Can communication heal the divisions, or will the area continue to break? The way that ECOWAS responds will be crucial, whether it chooses to pursue reforms, bolster enforcement, or look for new types of collaboration. To go forward, it will be necessary to prioritize regional security and prosperity over national division, as well as to resolve individual concerns and cultivate a renewed sense of common purpose. Only through genuine commitment to open communication, structural change, and a focus on the collective good can West Africa navigate this turbulent chapter and emerge stronger, more united, and ready to tackle the challenges of the future. The journey ahead won't be easy, but the stakes are high, demanding leadership, vision, and a collective will to build a brighter future for the entire region. Do you think ECOWAS can build this brighter future? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Do not forget to like this video and subscribe to the new Tourist channel. Turn on notifications too, so you get notified whenever we upload videos like this. Thanks for watching and see you in our next video.